Mines captivated the hopes and dreams of many in British Columbia, with some organizations finding as much as half a ton of gold. Vancouver Island's mining history runs deep, and today we're heading out to Clancy's mine. Established in the 1930s, this mine had everything you could need: an abandoned mill for processing the ore, a cyanide leaching plant, an aerial tramway, as well as underground workings. Without further ado, come join us as we explore everything this location has to offer. Sit back, buckle up, and let's see what we can see. We live in a world of wonder, and it's up to you to find it. The path to life's mysteries is just one adventure away. Specializing in exploring Vancouver Island and beyond, we are Discover Duo.
What are we doing today, Ethan?
We're heading out to a cool old spot from about the 1920s. It's called Clancy's Mine. First off, we're going to go check out an old cabin, and there's also supposed to be a cyanide plant for processing gold. So hopefully we can find some remains of that. And then we're going to make our way up to the mine. We're told it's about 100 feet with some adits going up and down. So yeah, it should be a wicked adventure. Let's go. Well, we're on another adventure, of course. Navigating our way through some pretty thick bush. Just below us, we can see the base of what would have been the aerial tramway just there at the bottom, fairly close to the water. So we'll keep hunting around here and see what else we can find. This is a really neat pipe. So I guess this would have been some sort of water system. Maybe he had a sluice box. You can see the way it's put together. It's like spiral. And those look like old rivets, old hand rivets. Anytime you see that, you know it's really old. So we're just following this big steel pipe we found. And I'm starting to see artifacts all over the place down there. Kind of exciting to head to a spot that not a lot of people know about. Nice. Here, this is wood stave piping. So what they do is they'd actually put a bunch of pieces of wood together, and that would sort of form the pipe, and they'd put the steel banding around there to lock it together. Really old school way to make pipes. I've seen this all over the place.
That's funny because all the metal's there, but barely any of this. Eh?
Yeah, a lot of the wood's rotted out.
It's kind of cool, eh?
Yeah. So the part Christina's holding there would have been like the coupler. And that's how they could join multiple pieces together, because they'd only want to have the wood in such long sections. So now we're going to start getting into some other pieces of history now. So this is a really cool one to find. This would have been one of the ore buckets, basically, that was on the tram. And you can see here, I'm sure it doesn't spin anymore now. This actually would have went on the cable, and the ore would have traveled in this bucket. And you can kind of see how this bar here would have actually pivoted, and that way when the ore got to the bottom of the tramway, they could dump it. That's pretty cool.
This is so cool.
Yeah. Well,
they had a lot going on here.
that's a monster, eh?
Yeah.
So this is like a smaller version of what we saw in Suquash, if you think about it.
Yeah. Do you know what year this was running?
This was in the 20s, I believe.
Okay, so about 100 years ago.
There's some old writing there. This is really old. So you can see how this would have worked. This guy would have a belt up here, and that would come all the way down, and you can actually still see the belt sitting there, and it would drive that big drive shaft. So I'm assuming these would have been steam powered.
Yeah.
If you look up there, this would have actually, see there's actually some of the belt right there. Mm-hmm. So you can see that the belt drove this long shaft. In the 20th century, these line shafts were quite popular. They were powered by a steam boiler. That drove a set of pistons that turned a large wheel. From there, the belts would turn the individual machines that were needed to run the plant. This technology would become redundant, and typically electric motors would be used instead. I wonder if this is part of the cyanide treatment. Oh wow, it just keeps going. There's stuff everywhere. It's hard to make sense of it all in a big dumpster pile like this. So see this swirling thing, Christina?
Yeah.
I think this was all part of the cyanide stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's kind of cool to see this guy from this angle. Basically, one of those belts would have powered this, and that would actually turn that worm drive there. So right here, this is a ball mill. So they still do ball mills today for processing ore. So I think what he would have done is he probably would have ground up the ore first and then went from there into the cyanide plant. And I'm pretty sure this would have been another way to sort of get the gold separated. And you can see all the pipes and the different boxes he had set up down there for processing the ore. And I think he obviously would have needed a lot of water to do this process as well. Right here, I suspect this portion would have hooked up to the ball mill, and that's probably what would have driven the ball mill. Is another one of those belts. So just where Christina's working through, we're thinking this would have been probably like the main workshop where he processed all the ore. Maybe it was a bit of a lean-to type structure. And over here, looks like part of an old vehicle. Yeah, it is an old vehicle. Maybe an old truck that he used once he got the ore. But you know, a vehicle's old when you see that they actually used wood. It's an old heavy-duty truck.
Yeah. That's awesome.
See the differential down there. All right, Christina's just making her way out of the bush here. And then we're gonna make our way up to the old mine site now and see what kind of pieces of history you can find up there. Just hiking our way up, and there's a really old truck abandoned on this old road we're heading up. You don't normally see trucks with that much moss on them. That's crazy. It's like an old Ford. All right, we made it to the mine. It was a bit of a slog to get up here. We basically just hiked up an entire mountain. But we're excited we made it. We're gonna go check it out. Don't forget
To like and subscribe.
we got so much epic content coming soon, and we don't want you to miss out on a thing. All right, you're seeing this for the first time with us. Here we go. So this is Clancy's mine. And it's interesting, we actually saw a lot of this white colored rock on the way up here.
So yeah, seeing the white rock kind of scattered down below is what made us realize that we were on the right track.
Yeah, we were
We
wondering.
didn't exactly know where we were going.
We were wondering for a while. We had some loose instructions how to get here. We were kind of trying to figure out, okay, what's the right way? And then when we started seeing that rock, we had a pretty good idea. So here's a bunch of old rail track. This is cool. So this probably was a little bit of a skip way, I'm thinking. We'll see. Oh no, this is actually for a mucker. That's actually a mucker right there. You can see a mucker for the first time, Christina. So see this here?
Yeah.
That's a mucker. So what they would do, see how there's a bolt
Yeah.
with a big loop
Yeah.
on the wall over there?
Uh-huh.
That actually would have hooked up to a cable, and they would have used a winch to haul this thing back and forth, and that would actually scoop the ore up this ramp. And then he would have had a mine cart that came in right here. That mucker would have set up on these rails and dumped right into the mine cart. And then the mine cart would have made its way out there. And that's how they could basically move ore without having to do it manually with a shovel. This is a weird little mine, hey?
Yeah, it is.
I've never seen anything like it. So this ceiling we're looking at here, that's called the back. And they would usually leave a certain amount of ore in as a support to hold up the ceiling. So there's a bit of a stope here. That's cool. Wow, they went right up, eh? This would be going down to a lower section of the mine here. And you can see that it's all flooded. So it wouldn't go any further. There it is. That's the end of the road there. All sorts of old cans in here.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder how much further it went down.
Apparently another 100 feet, I think.
Really?
It's not a huge mine, but it's still a cool one. I like how much detail went into this mine. So apparently there was more workings, I'm not exactly sure where, that Clancy worked in this part of the island.
Oh, really?
And I bet you that his little mill was kind of like a central hub for processing the ore from all of his different mines. Well, that was cool. Easy little one, eh?
Yeah.
So just up here, looks like Christina just spotted the ore cart that would have went on those rails. Be easy to miss something like this, eh?
This is so cool. Check this out.
Yeah, that's an oldie, eh?
Yeah.
It's interesting too because all the stuff we've been seeing kind of matches the same time period. No wheels on it though, eh?
No. That's why I was wondering if...
Well, that's one of the #1 things that people want to take.
Yeah.
Really cool old minecart though. It's all old welded one. Well, that's gonna do it for another epic adventure. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you haven't, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.